From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 9 o'clock news.
Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Russ Riesinger. A week after the death of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, it appears that President Trump has made his choice to replace her. CBS's Weijia Zhang has more of the president's pick.
While on a three-state campaign spree, President Trump built up momentum for the big announcement.
We are appointing a Supreme Court Justice from Ohio.
Tonight, CBS News has learned the president is expected to nominate federal appeals judge Amy Coney Barrett to replace Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. The 48-year-old mother of 7 was an early frontrunner, especially after the president considered her to replace Justice Anthony Kennedy in 2018. Barrett clerked for conservative icon Justice Antonin Scalia and became a favorite among religious groups for her anti-abortion views. This week, Barrett made 2 trips to the White House and met with President Trump. He's pushing Congress to confirm her before Election Day, arguing a full court could be needed to rule on the results.
It's going to be a fantastic night, November 3rd. Now, I don't know, with this ballot situation.
Mr. Trump says he may not accept the results of the race if voters mail in their ballots, despite his own FBI director, Christopher Wray, saying there is no evidence of fraudulent voting by mail. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows doubted Wray's competence.
With all due respect to Director Wray, he has a hard time finding emails in his own FBI, let alone figuring out whether there's any kind of voter fraud.
Meadows also suggested some mail-in ballots should not count.
Should we allow votes to come in and be counted a week after November 3rd? I don't believe so.
But at least 18 states and Washington, D.C. accept ballots after Election Day, as long as they are postmarked by then. The Biden team, anticipating a fierce fight over voting, has hundreds of attorneys nationwide standing ready.
The last thing we need is, the equivalent of a coup. I mean, this is not who we are. We'll have an election in this country as we always have had, and he'll leave.
Judge Barrett is already well known on Capitol Hill, having just gone through the confirmation process in 2017 to become a federal judge. Republicans consider her a sure bet, but some Democrats have suggested they will refuse to meet with Barrett before her hearing to become a justice. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, the White House.
Well, a Yellowstone County judge has tossed out a 2018 Montana law that restricts the number of ballots that can be dropped off at an election office. Judge Jessica Fear ruled today the Ballot Interference Prevention Act is unconstitutional and infringes upon the fundamental right to vote of tribal members on reservations. The suit argued that tribal members in rural areas with limited transportation benefit from allowing one person to collect a large number of ballots to drop off. Western Native Voice and Montana Native Vote brought that suit along with several tribes, and including the Crow. They filed suit against Montana Secretary of State Corey Stapleton, Attorney General Tim Fox, and the Commissioner of Political Practices, Jeff Mangan. Now, the Ballot Interference Prevention Act passed with 63% of the vote in 2018. It restricted who could collect and limited drop-off to 6 ballots. And another ruling out of district court today will allow ballots to be counted that are postmarked on Election Day. The state Democratic Party argued that allowing postmarked ballots levels the playing field with urban and rural voters. Judge Donald Harris ruled as long as an absentee voter gets a postmark on their ballot on November 3rd, their vote will count. That ruling is for the November election only and is expected to extend the Montana vote count by several days. Well, COVID-19 contributed to 5 more deaths across Montana as state health officials report more than 300 new active cases for a second day in a row. Now, one of those 5 deaths reported here in Yellowstone County. A woman in her 70s from a local senior living facility died in the hospital yesterday. 3 of the deaths confirmed today are reported in Roosevelt County, and the 5th person was from Wheatland County. The death toll across Montana has now reached 170. 323 active confirmed cases today has pushed the state total to more than 2,700. Nearly 9,000 Montanans have recovered, and at least 140 people are in Montana's hospitals. Only one of Montana's 56 counties is yet to report a single coronavirus case. That's Petroleum County in central Montana. With around 500 people, Petroleum is the least populous county in Montana and has the 8th fewest number of people of any county in the entire nation.
Number one, it is a very small population. However, their testing numbers are pretty statistically consistent with the percentages being tested in our other counties. Like a lot of our counties in Montana, there's a significant older population in that county, and our experience with Petroleum County is that they very definitely care about and take care of their elderly.
Well, despite those low numbers, health officials say it's still important to take precautions to prevent COVID no matter where you live. Into the 2020 Parade of Homes here in Billings looks a little bit different this year. That event, hosted by the Home Builders Association, now in its 30th year. COVID-19 restrictions forced an alternative to busing people around to the different homes. So this year, the public can just tour the houses on their own. Houses on the tour are all in the $700,000 to $1.2 million price range. The goal behind the tour of the custom homes is to showcase industry trends and innovations.
Spectacular thing I think about the Parade of Homes is the artistry that goes into it. Some of these homes, these are things that you'll never see most opportunities. The homes are just beautiful, spectacular. And most of the work that's done in the homes will feature the latest in the trends in technology. So whether you're looking in the market to buy a home or you're in the market to get some great design ideas, we recommend you take that tour.
The tour runs through Sunday. The HBA website has a printable map and information on all the homes that you can tour. Tickets do need to be purchased in advance. Back in 1963, President John F. Kennedy toured the West to promote environmental conservation. And today is the anniversary of President Kennedy's stop right here in Billings. Q2's Krista Rose gives us a look back with the help of Q2's Jay Cohn, who was there with his 6th grade class.
John F. Kennedy was one of America's most popular presidents, and in 1963, he set off from Washington on a 5-day tour of the West to promote conservation and the efficient use of our country's natural resources. He would stop in places like Cheyenne and Tacoma, Salt Lake City, and Las Vegas. But on September 25th, Kennedy became the first president to visit Billings since Woodrow Wilson.
Billings, Montana. The crowd at the airport is large for a city of only 53,000. But that's over 100,000 hands.
Q2's Jay Cohn was there, not as a reporter, but as an excited 6th grader.
Well, I was in the grandstands at the Yellowstone County Fairgrounds where they had bused us from the Highland School down to see President Kennedy speak. My first chance to ever see a president in person. I remember the excitement. It was a big deal.
And while his trip was aimed at promoting conservation, Jay doesn't recall the 15-minute speech having much to do with that.
You know, it wasn't that far removed from the Cuban Missile Crisis. So one of his topics was the nuclear test ban treaty, which was like, we were I had no idea what he was talking about, but it was just cool to be there and watch it.
And though the test ban treaty may not have inspired excitement in a young 6th grader, Kennedy, always the fan of literature, ended his speech in Billings with soaring rhetoric by quoting author Henry David Thoreau.
Eastward I go, only by force. Westward I go free. I must walk towards Oregon and not towards Europe. I walk towards Montana. I express my thanks to all of you.
Jay was with about 17,000 other Montanans applauding Kennedy's speech. And an equally large crowd showed up in Great Falls the next day to watch Kennedy not only give a speech at Great Falls High Memorial Stadium, but to make a house call.
En route to his speaking engagement, President Kennedy stops for a brief visit with the father of the Senate Majority Leader, Senator Mike Mansfield of Montana.
And then, of course, 2 months later, he was assassinated, and then that really hit home, and that was, that solidified those memories forever, and to this day, that's what I remember.
But Jay is one of the lucky ones. He has a unique keepsake from Kennedy's visit, passed down to him by his father.
After his visit here, my dad gave me this tie clasp. It's a Kennedy PT 109 tie clasp, but I think they gave out as a memorabilia of his visit to Billings. And I see where it's really a hot topic for memorabilia and collectors around the country. But I've always had it in my tie clasp drawer. And whenever we're doing stories about the Kennedy visit, I bring it out. It's pretty cool. And for me, it's a great memory of that day.
Reporting in Billings with Jay Cohn, Chris DeRose, MTN News.
Great story, Chris, and a special thank you to Jay for sharing his memories. And also a big thank you to the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library and Museum for giving us the video and photos for that story. Still ahead on the MTN 9 o'clock news, with the U.S. House debate looming, we're going to dive into the first attack ads rolled out by each candidate. But first, Bob McGuire's in next with your full 7-day forecast.